All right, Alex, thank you from Penang. Yeah, good morning. Okay, we have JB, KL, Pengerang, the oil and gas town now. Huh? Okay, it is 11 o'clock right now, so we shall begin the session. So thank you everybody for tuning in early. So ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and welcome to the IPO retail session, which is a live chat with Ramssol Group Berhad, advancing people through technology. Now, the company has recently launched its prospectus on the 22nd of June, 2021. So now it's open for application. All right. So my name is Shen Chu. I will be your moderator for today's session. Now, may I give you a bit of overview of the company? Now, Ramssol Group Berhad is one of the local leading human capital management solutions and a technology provider offering solutions in the field of human capital management seamlessly across not just Malaysia, but also Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia, and Vietnam. Now, the company owns Feeds, a revolutionary mobile application designed to help employers build and cultivate an engaging workforce. Now, with a war chest of technology solutions and a focus on advancing people through technology, Ramssol Group Berhad boasts a client base consisting of reputable companies covering multinationals and local organizations throughout Southeast Asia. Now, the group's revenue, which continues to grow double-digit year on year, is poised to make a significant mark in corporate Malaysia. Now, before we begin, as usual, here is our disclaimer. Okay. So the session is an IPO information session for you to get to know an IPO company. So there's no any buy or sell recommendation in this session. So whatever investment decision you make, you're solely responsible for all your investment decisions. Okay. So now let's get started by allowing me to introduce you, the panel members for today's event. So we have here today Mr. Clement Tan, the Group Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer. All right. Hi, Mr. Clement.
Hi, Shane.
How are you today?
Good. Yourself?
All right. I'm also good. Thank you. Second panelist we have is Ms. Lee Mew Lan, a non-independent Executive Director and Chief Operating Officer of Ramssol Groups. Okay. Hi, Ms. Mew Lan. Okay. Good morning. And third panelist we have is Ms. So Meng Sit, who is the Chief Financial Officer.
Hi, Ms. So.
Yeah.
Hi, morning.
Then we have Mr. Syed here on the line with us, Mr. Syed Mazawir bin Sheikh Muhammad Musta, who is the Deputy Head of Corporate Finance of Kenanga Investment Bank. Hi, Mr.
Hi, Shane. Hi, everyone.
Yes, welcome. And finally, we have Mr. Marcus Fong, who is the Senior Vice President of Corporate and Institutional Coverage of Kenanga Investment Bank. Hi, Mr. Marcus. Yeah, welcome everybody. So now we will begin by getting to know a company a little better, followed by some live questions later. So we have a Q&A for you, don't worry. So throughout the way, right, if you have any questions, you may type in the Q&A box, not the chat box of this Zoom. So throughout the way, if any question, you may start to type in the Q&A box, all right? And then we address them towards the end of the session. Now, before this, let's start with a corporate video at Ramssol.
As a company that specializes in human capital management, Ramssol primarily serves as a solution provider in the human resource department through software and employee engagement systems. Ramssol started in Malaysia in 2010 and has since expanded to other countries, Singapore, Vietnam, Thailand, and Indonesia. In part of its growing influence, the incorporation of Ramssol Group Berhad has been made possible in 2019. Our milestone started back in 2010, and since then, Ramssol has been progressively achieving higher quality products and continuously upgrading their services to serve their clients better. This has been demonstrated by the numerous awards and accolades received on both national and international level.
My role as the Group CEO and Managing Director has been strengthened by having these amazing individuals alongside with me. I am accompanied by Ms. Lee Lan, our Group COO, Mr. Brian Liu, our Group CIO, Ms. So Ming Si, our Group CFO. Together we strive as the core of Ramssol Group Berhad, guided by the Board of Directors, led by our Group Chairman. We are confident to deliver the mandate given to us by our substantial shareholders, Tan Sri Dr. Lim Wee Chai and Mr. Alex Wong.
Oracle works as a resource planning software with tons of features that provide full access to the human resource experience. Oracle PeopleSolve offers the best human capital management solution for further improvement in business growth. Mobile apps Feeds is a tool to help improve relationships among peers in a workplace. Lark offers convenience whereby messages, documents, schedules can all be in this one single place, which gives a great user experience for the client. Sage is effective for payroll needs management whereby it is easy to navigate and hassle-free.
The fact that Ramssol Group is led by a dynamic team, they have a very good strategic planning, they always think ahead, they are very connected to the market, and also they listen to the customers what need to be done and stuff like that. What I like about their style of doing business is to help people to have a happier working environment. That is the most important thing. So I'm very happy to be a part of their group.
Ramssol has seen a steady increase in growth throughout the years. Revenue has seen an increase of 84% from 2017 to 2018, followed by a 23% increase from 2018 to 2019. To date, the revenue kept a steady growth with a 64% increase from 2019 to December 2020.
We are delighted to have seen our growth come to fruition. We look forward to greater success with our clients in years to come.
With clients of more than 70 companies throughout Asia Pacific, the company has been given the opportunity to work with some of the most prominent companies around, covering various types of sectors, proving to be a reliable ally in its field. The vast dynamic clientele is the proof and success stories of Ramssol Group Berhad. It's our responsibility and mission to serve our clients by advancing people through technology. Introducing its improved version of Feeds mobile app in their fleet of products and services. Engaging with people and advancing people through technology has always been our primary motivation to become the #1 human resource provider as we strive to be.
Okay, so that is the corporate video of Ramssol Group Berhad. All right. So now, before we begin, right, because I think there was one of you who said I cannot hear the audio. So if my audio, my visual, and our webcam is working fine, can you please type yes? Okay. If this is working fine, can you type yes? Let me know if this all right. Okay, cool. So there's no internet connectivity issue. Thank you so much for coming in early. So now, without further ado, let's start the session today. Hi, Mr. Clement.
Hi, Shane.
Yeah, glad to have you in the house today. Okay, so now, could you please briefly explain what is your offering summary this time?
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for the introduction, Shane. We are happy to hear today. Our prospectus launch actually marked an incredible milestone for us. So referring to the offering summary, eventually we are going to list in the 8th market of Malaysia. So our issue price will be 45 cents per share with a market cap value at 100.4 million upon listings. So the opening date of our IPO will be on 22nd of June and the closing date of our IPO will be on 29th of June. So for those who have not applied, please grab these chances. And 13 July will be our date of listing.
Okay, so it's 29th of June is a deadline, so don't miss the deadline, friends. Okay,
All right.
so yeah, thank you for the short summary of the offering summary. So now, from the prospectus, right, we know that the company was incorporated in 2010. Could you guide us through some history of the company's milestones?
Okay, this will be a little bit lengthy. Please bear with me.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, so actually, as you can see that our co-founder here, Miss Lee Mulan, also is in the call. Okay, so our group, which is our group COO. So back then, myself and also Miss Lee Mulan, actually, we started our company in the year of 2010. So myself, actually, when I started my career after I graduate, is also being very passionate in human capital management and also IT technologies. So even Mulan is actually my mentor and also back then my manager during that time. So actually, in fact, she is the one who guiding me into this journey of venturing into technology and also human capital management. Okay, so in year 2010, so myself, Mulan, we started in Singapore and also in 2000 and Malaysia. So in year 2011, we marked our first project of human capital management solution and also commencement of our business, which providing IT implementation to one of our customers called CapitaLand. Okay, we compromise and covering the whole CapitaLand group, including their Escort Hotel, Somerset Hotels, CapitaLand property, and also Capital Malls. Okay, so the company actually growing significantly. So in year 2011, back then we are only like myself and Mulan, and then a few team members, less than 5 team members, and then we keep on growing, and there's a lot of opportunity from our human capital management provider, which is Oracle, to actually give us a lot of project and and chances. So and in the year of 2013, actually we see the potential in Vietnam, and our company is growing in Malaysia and Singapore. Then we are actually venturing into Vietnam because there's a high demand of our services in Vietnam, and even some of the customers require us to open in Vietnam so that some of the project can be rolling out to Vietnam at the same time. So that's how we actually expand. So in the year 2014, we got the MSC status, is the what they call sorry, multimedia super corridor, which in Malaysia. And we also secure a very huge big project in Malaysia doing a consultancy and also implementation for one of the financial institutions in Malaysia. So in the year of 2015, because of the demands and also from principal, which Oracle, they also asking us like, Clemens, why not you all think about expanding into all the countries that in Southeast Asia, with your quality of delivery, and the customers been liking you all with your services, why not you try to venture also into Thailand? So during the time, myself and Mulan actually, we go to Thai, and we have secured the first consulting project in Vietnam as well from a BPO companies. Yep. So throughout the whole journeys, we have been actually been recognized by, we've been recognized by some of the, sorry, 1 minute. Sai, do you mind you mute? Yeah. And we also actually get recognized and being nominated as top 25 promising Oracle solution provider. We got awards of top 10 Oracle solution provider. And also, since quality delivery is our foundation to success, so we also obtain ISO certifications as well. So the most interesting part is in the year of 2017, because 2017 is where, our business for bread and butter, which is human capital management solution, consultancy supports, and also student management solution already pretty much stabilized and pretty much automate, where, we have a bunch of people and professionals in our companies where can run the show. So that's why in the year 2017, myself and Mulan, we have come up with the visions and ideas where we understand the gap, what is missing in the whole human capital management, which is employee engagement. So back then, that's why we started R&D, research and development for employee engagement mobile application, and also, yeah. So in the year of 2018, we are also being nominated a lot of awards, and the project size of our human capital management and student management campus solution is getting bigger and bigger. If you can see from the video, our clientele you will see that there are actually selected customers in our video, which is all the notable and also prominent customers in Malaysia, MNCs. Okay, and in the year of 2019, we also started Indonesia and fixed Indonesia. Okay, and the best part in last year, in the year of 2020, so we become a reseller of LAC and Zoom in Asia Pacific region. And we expanded our business into IT related training. So we actually being nominated as best SME HR solution provider. And this year we are actually going to list on the ACE market of Busan, Malaysia.
Right. Yeah, congratulations for all the amazing milestones done. We can see that within these 10 years, right, you and your team have grown and expanded the company rapidly in such a short amount of time. So could you provide us a brief overview of Ramssol Group?
Okay, so in nutshell, perhaps I will explain in what kind of services that actually we provided. Okay, so started in the year of 2010. Actually, back then, okay, what we actually doing is provision of human capital management and student management solutions, right? So basically, what it does is where the customers actually engage us, where they found that, okay, Clemens or Rams, we realized is that our HR process in the company is pretty much manual. So, and also we would like to get your advice and consultancy advice how to proceed with that, right? So, and then we will actually given them advice that, okay, so your current, perhaps like, for example, your payroll process, your leave process, your claim process, or your performance management KPI process in the company is very manual. This is your current status, right? So after they actually get our advice or consultancy advice, then we will actually changing their, to give them an advice where this is your 2B. So with this process in place, it can streamline and even can harmonize across all the countries that you have, and also to make it more efficient, and of course, shorten the time frame to execute some of the processes. And during that time, we also will say that you will be good, and it's a time for you to go digitalize. We're trying to digitalize your HR system, and we will actually recommend them to use some of the software, which include, we will prefer HR software, which Oracle's, right? So that's one of the line items, the first, what they call the first line of business that we have. So the second line of business that we have is IT staff augmentations. So basically, for example, like our customers, like let's say CapitaLand, right? So or AIA. So basically, they will actually ask us like, Clement, I want to recruit an IT professional, but I don't know, because I want to develop this system and this system and this system in my companies. Okay, fine. Let me help you understand what kind of requirement that you want to execute or implement your systems. Okay, then we will actually try to find an IT professional, since we are actually expertise in these areas, and then we will recruit for them. And technically, these people is under our payroll, and we actually outsource to them. Okay, and of course, lastly would be provision of HCM technology applications. Okay, which is Fix, LAC, and Zoom. Okay, so as you can see that today we are using Zoom, correct? So Zoom, without further explain, I suppose everyone also know what is Zoom. So Fix is our new mobile application, and LAC is a social collaboration tool, something like Zoom, but it's a B2B. So Rams Malaysia, now also we are venturing into another new line of business, which is Rams Malaysia also provide IT related training that focusing on office automations, right?
Okay, that's interesting. So I think today we have learned a great deal about HR. So let's zoom in one by one. So could you elaborate more on the HCM and also the student management solution?
Okay. Yeah, so let me give you an example, just like let's say Kenanga, for instance. So today Kenanga, since Kenanga is our principal advisor, so Kenanga, their HR pretty much manual, for example, just example, okay? So, and then they will find that, Clement, how can you help me to digitalize, because now also pandemic or whatsoever, without pandemic, how can I make sure that my leave everyone can apply at home, and how can I submit my claims at home, and also how can I streamline my payroll processes better, how to do more effective performance management, how to do more effective recruitment, and how can I map my people doing the learning management study at home. Okay, so this is what we will actually provide our customers. So basically, customers will say that, our HR every month also have been very messy, perhaps like late of payroll, a lot leave our employees feel that very frustrated, or even to submit a claims or submit a leave application and so forth and so forth. So our job is to provide, because there is a lot of flaw where in your processes, So we are here just like a doctor where we actually diagnosing your problem, right? And then we one by one, we actually overcome all the challenges and obstacles that you have. And then we do a blueprint, a diagram, a process flow to them to saying that this would be your needed the process, okay, the target process that you need, okay. And with implementing Oracle system or any system, human capital management system, then you will help in terms of streamlining your whole business process, okay. Same goes to student management solutions, okay. So what we do is like our customers, quite a number of customers in Malaysia that using our Oracle campus solutions, okay. So what we do is that we're helping them in terms of admission until matriculation, meaning to say every student going to the school, they need to go through this system and submit the admission form until we are doing the recording, doing their student assessment, timetabling, examination until their matriculations or graduations, right? So right after actually we given all these consultancy and then we actually implement the system for our customers. Then after that, we will give the training. So typically the project will be depending on the size and the company. It will be like 6 months to 2 years or 3 years, okay, depending on how, or depending on how many countries they are rolling out. Okay, and then we will give a user training. Right after the user training, then they will actually engage us to do a technical support and
Hello.
Yeah, I hope it has made.
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much for the explanation of HCM. Now with the HCM and the student management solution, do you have to work with other software vendors or you have your own software?
Yeah, so actually we sell a third-party human capital management and also student management software licenses like I mentioned earlier. So we are actually licensed by respective software vendors to resell their software licenses. For example, if you can see from our video like Sage, right, which are also so we actually license a lot like Oracle PeopleSoft, Oracle PeopleSoft HCM, Oracle PeopleSoft Campus Solution, Oracle Cloud Human Capital Management, Oracle Talent Acquisition, and Sage EasyPay. I'm not sure whether all the participants in this call actually aware who is Oracle. So basically, Oracle is an American multinational computer technology corporation headquarters in Texas, US. So for more than 4 decades, I think, yeah, Oracle has been delivered innovation upon which entire industry has been built. Okay, so it's really our pleasure actually to work with this global leader in enterprise software and IT solutions, right?
Yeah, Oracle is such a big name that I've known since I studied in college.
The Iron Man, they are actually like, yeah.
Yeah. So have you mentioned that? So can you resell the software licenses to everyone?
Yes, we can resell the licenses to our customers. Of course, when the moment the customer say that, Clemens, I want your services, I want to get your consultancy advice, I want you to help my HR, I need you to help my student management system. So the moment that they actually get our help and also engage us on the consultancy services, then we will actually do recommendation. And we only resell the license to our customer that engaging our services. Okay, so and by all means, because we are wanted to have the customer to be a one-stop solutions where consulting, support, training, and even licenses also transacting with us. So we will help our customer to do that.
I see.
Yeah.
So next, let's zoom. Yeah, sorry, you have anything to add on?
Sorry. Yeah, so typically license, there are few licenses. So if you look at our human capital management and student management solutions, so the licenses is a renewal basis in yearly renewal basis, right? So like Fix, Lab or Zoom, basically is all monthly subscription based. Okay. Yeah. So of course, when we resell, there will be a certain margins that we actually putting into the licenses, right?
I see. Okay, so let's zoom in on the second part. So can you describe more on the IT staff augmentation services?
Okay. this also would be quite easy. Okay, let me give you an example, like let's say Kenanga again. Oh, okay, maybe one of our customer AIA actually. So what this does is that Kenanga say, I want to go to digitalize, like for example, or maybe coming up with this Kentrade platform, perhaps, right? So they will say that, oh, our IT staff or our Kenanga lack of some of the IT skill in order to develop these items, for example. So what it does is that then they will say that, okay, since Clement, you are IT professional in the recruitment, I want to develop these apps or develop this AI or whatsoever. Then they were actually asking like, can you help me to find these talents, these professional and competence to do the job? I said, okay, sure, no problem. So what we does is that we will actually perform the pre-employment screening, we do the interview, we give a basic soft skill training to these people and onboard these people to the customers, right? So why customer need to choose us? Also, the whole model is like, when we try to hire the people to meet the customer needs. Okay, so these people basically is technically under our Rams payroll. Okay, so for example, let's say these people example salary is 10,000, and then let's say we are charging Kenanga 20,000. So this amount of the differences of margin 10,000 would be our recurring profit, and not typically customers will actually engage us like having these people for 6 months minimum to 1 year and subject to renew every year. Okay, so this will be one of the basis of we see the future, and also it's a recurring basis, right? So yeah.
Okay, sounds interesting. So if I may ask, who are your clients for this?
Yeah. Sorry, customers. There are a lot of customers. Perhaps the top three customers that you can see would be like Oracle. Yep. Oracle, being an IT leading companies, they are also engaging us, some of the IT professionals to develop and also to help them on implementation of the systems. CapitaLand, the whole group of CapitaLands, okay, and also like I mentioned earlier, AIA. But unfortunately, don't have Kenanga in my customers list. That is just an example.
Okay, so that means your market is still white for you. So, okay, now your HCM technology applications look interesting with many apps such as Feeds, Lark, and Zoom feature like what you mentioned. Could you briefly talk about, how does Feed work?
Okay, so briefly, how does Feeds work is actually very simple. Okay, so Feeds actually is for employer. Okay, only 3 key indexes that we measured. We work with UPUM, Malaysia. Okay, so what we're trying to measure is that how stressed is your people, how happy is your people, and how engaged your people. It's very important because if we can measure these 3 things for your employees, for example, why Shane, you are not happy working in Kenanga, for example, right? And why you are so stressed and why you are not engaged at all. So because the moment you are not happy, you are stressed and you're not engaged, the possibility of losing Shane, such a good person's employees, is very high, correct? And also, if I lose you, the cost to replace you is also very high, right? Because I've been nurtured you, given you a lot of training, we've been growing you. So this is the common problems is throughout the whole organization in Malaysia, including us, right? So that's why, when we actually coming out with this, we tried ourselves in Ramssol Group, we put Feeds as we as a guinea pig in the sense that we tried it out and then we really measured every single of our staff, okay, how stressed they are, how happy they are, and how engaged they are, okay? And how we do that, because inside the Feeds, we have multiple features, okay? One of the key notable features would be something like hi-fi, okay? So hi-fi is basically like, it's like given a recognized to your people or your peers, okay? Imagine like Kenanga, such a huge company. There are no way you will get your CEO visibility. What happens if your CEO know what you are doing and the CEO say good job to a low-level executive? They will feel proud. They will feel pride. That's something that we want to achieve, right? And we have what they call a features called Connect. So back then, before pandemic, this Connect is served as a collaborations where, we want every single employee where I doesn't know Marcus, I doesn't know you, Shen, but, the whole entire phase will able to let you know how distance between myself and Marcus and how can I make myself and Marcus know each other, even from different departments, because the whole entire problems now with the organization, especially a big organization, every employee doesn't know each other's. Okay, they are only actually working silently. They don't feel the family. They don't feel the bonding together. Okay, as such, this connect, basically there will be a series of events, not only company initiate. They're using this connect to ensure that, today, Clementine, myself, I want to show you all how to perform yoga or perform gym. Okay, or I want to play a badminton. So I will actually create this event so that seeing who is interested to join me together to play badminton, that's the time that we go together. But because due to pandemic, now we actually in collaboration with Zoom, okay, it works effectively as well. Because now even our staff in Ramssol Group, they just say, Zoom, let's do joggings, what I call virtual joggings, 10 km at home together. So our staff actually, technically we are actually working from home and we're actually jogging, even myself also, together with the staff. So there's a bonding even we are working from home. Yeah. So so our aim with FIS actually is to help foster relationship between employees and enhance transparency across all levels of employees, right? Our usual dashboard, like I mentioned earlier, to measure happiness, engagement, stress indexes, is to the management so that they can identify and try to rectify and make a healthy organizations. Okay, so with the current new norms environment, engagement between the employers and employees very, very essential, very, very vital to ensure that the well-being of all your staff and also to provide employer the information for more talent management strategies, right? And of course, in FIS we have more features. We have other more features. So, and in fact, actually, one of the very significance for the employees to have is that, employees, whenever they actually participate in any activities in FIS, the features, okay, they will actually earn the points. And with all these points, they can redeem for all the brand partners or the vouchers that are available from FIS. For example, let's say shopping vouchers, F&B vouchers, and so forth and so forth, right?
Okay. Oh, this certainly sounds very interesting, huh? So one day, if my company grows bigger, I will use your app. Okay.
You can use that, Jen.
I also agree with you that in these trying times, right, the well-being of all employees is also very important. Now, so just now you have explained at length about FIS, right? So what about luck?
Okay, so luck actually is something like Zoom, okay? But luck is Zoom, it can be B2C, right? Business to consumers, right? And then for luck, it will be a B2B, business to business. So luck is a single online collaboration platform for business used to interconnect multiple what they call communications function. So unlike like Zoom is more about video conferencing and voice conferencing, something like that, right? So for luck, we have video conferencing, we have voice conferencing, we have instant messaging, okay? And also the most impressive in luck, there are two things, okay, that very different. One is they serve as an aggregator, okay? Aggregator in the sense that today, without even spending much money and effort, don't need to be very savvy in IT, you can configure apps or mini apps in luck to use for your company purposes. Okay, for example, you can actually configure a health report information to collect from your employees. You can easily configure a leave application submission via luck for your own companies. You can even configure a claim management system. So we also help our customers to configure something like student assessments, kudos, student feedback, e-certification for students, and so forth and so forth and so forth. And the most important also, because luck is an aggregator, imagine Kenanga as an employee, every morning, how many apps you need to serve? Perhaps you need to go through only for Kenanga per se, okay? Maybe you need to go through 4F, 5F, different apps to perform different tasks and activities, right? So luck can console all your 5 apps into one, okay? as a social single platforms, right? And secondly, the most important part and most impressive part for LAT would be the instant translations. And this technology is pretty much first in the markets as well. So for example, company like us, Ramssol Group, we also having a challenges sometimes to communicate with my employees in, let's say, Thailand. Okay, yeah. So with this instant translations, the subtitle, basically today I speak in Chinese and my colleagues or my staff speak in Thai, and the instant translation subtitle is actually at the bottoms. So it can actually minimize the miscommunications, especially during this working remotely time, right?
Okay, so so sounds like we don't really need a Google Translate anymore, lah. So you have so many features in this app. So previously you mentioned that Fits had a feature of allowing users to access and create Zoom meetings via the app. So does that mean that you are working with Zoom on this?
Yes. So in November 2020, our group had begun to can be done and also can be for Zoom where we purchase, and the whole entire Fits itself is actually integrated with Zoom now. So so our group COO, Miss B, basically she is the one who coming up with these ideas, and I suppose she will have more passion in terms of explaining this. Milan, pass to you.
All right.
Hi. Okay. So how do we start? Actually, when we were designing Fits before the pandemic started, we had a feature called Connect. Right, so the main purpose is to connect all the employees together. So by having activities, not only meetings, conference, trainings online, but also to allow the employees to have socialized events, especially when they are geographically distributed. Okay, so but previously before the pandemic, it was in-person activities. Okay, so when the pandemic started, we were wondering how we can actually improve this feature. Right, so everybody was using Zoom, so we actually reached out to Zoom and say, okay, wait, can we connect? So after negotiation, we became their ISV vendor. Okay, so what is our ISV vendor? It's an independent software vendor. So as an independent software vendor, we can actually connect any software in our portfolio to Zoom. Right, so we can actually build the connector and it can connect to Zoom. So like our product Fits, we are directly connected to Zoom. So you do not need to leave Fits. Once you open our Zoom, our Fits mobile app, you click on Connect and you say you want to host either a private or a public meeting. Okay, so everything is actually set up within Fits and you will trigger Zoom directly. Okay, so Zoom is actually within Fits and we are selling it at a single price. You only need to buy Fits with us and you get the entire features of Zoom within the product itself. So that's how we started. We wanted to make things easier so that when you have your meetings or whatever, you don't have to switch out of Fits, go into Zoom, or move around between different applications. So to us, it is an easier way, okay, to make life easier for your employees and to make collaboration, communication a lot easier between the employees. So on top of being an ISV provider, we are also a reseller and a referrer. Okay, so what's the difference? If it's a very, very big deal and we do not have the capacity to manage the entire deal ourselves, then we refer it back to Zoom. Okay, and we get a commission for it. So if it's a normal deal and we are able to manage the deal by ourselves and we are able to pay for the subscription upfront, okay, then we are able to resell it. So we don't really sell one or two. You ask me why can I not buy online, right? So I can actually go to the Zoom website and actually buy it online. So for us, we sell anything above 100 license. So when you above 100 license, you get different pricing. So for us, we buy it at a special price and then we resell. Of course, we configure the thing as well for our clients because you're not dealing with one license, you're dealing with 100 of licenses. And if you look at Zoom, at the moment for Malaysia, you only see Zoom meetings. but actually outside of Malaysia, in other countries, or Zoom actually provides many different services, okay, which for us in Malaysia we have to wait, and it will be coming to us soon. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much, Miss Mulan and also Clement. Now, of course, I'm very amazed with your company's businesses. So, could you tell us, like, what are your company's competitive strengths? I think many of us here would also want to know.
Okay, so I think one of the competitive strengths that we have would be like we have a proven track records. So if you can see from our clientele, all is basically coming from like financial institutions and also some of the properties industries and also different industries, right? And all is big MNC companies, multiple countries as well, right? So with our track record, basically our customers been very trust on us, and with all this spreading on the word of mouth to all the other their competitors or even their counterparts, basically they're gaining a lot of confidence, because every time when we say that we have done a lot of successful consultations and implementation and support for this and that customer on our clientele, basically they say that, yeah, there's no issue actually basically for you to support us. So even like then secondly, they also relate to second point, where because our regional presence, right? The regional presence that we have now, like Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, and of course, we are going to go into Philippines very in near future. Okay, so the customer very confident that, okay, if today I want to expand to Thailand, if today I want to expand to Philippines, if I want to expand to Vietnam, at least the people who've been implementing and given us a consultancy in Malaysia already have the practice and know what to do if we want to roll out to Vietnam, for example, or Singapore, for example, because HR is something like, it's like very customs private providers for you. The moment that we actually design the HR system for you or the student management solution for you, okay, so they also would prefer, our customer always like to prefer to standardize whatever we have designed for them in Malaysia to replicate it in other countries. Okay, of course, if getting another consultancy companies to understand them again will be very hassles. Okay, as such, this is one of the key competitive strength that we have, because we have a regional, and when the customer roll out, we are there for you. And all our customer, all the countries that we have, we also have a local consultant that knowing all the tax statutories, very well. So because otherwise, it's impossible we can advise them how your HR should behave, because if he doesn't know the country's law, if he doesn't know the country's labor law, or even he doesn't know the country's how to calculate a simple tax, employee tax or social contribution like your EPF, your SOCSO, your Zakat, your something like that, then we are not qualified to give the customers advice, right? So thirdly, because myself and also like Mulan's, like I mentioned earlier, the competitive strength is that myself and Mulan, basically two of us is very passionate in HR, human capital management, and also student management solutions. Because our career, actually, if you ask me, I don't know anything but only know HR. Okay, I don't know anything, I only know IT. Okay, because myself and Mulan, back then when we started, we do nothing. We are just doing HR. Okay, if you ask me how to fix a car, I also don't know how to fix a car. So I only know how to do HR. Okay, I don't even know how to cooking, for example, right? So because of this, all the while we've been starting with doing this HR. So the customer very, very confident on myself and Mulan as a founders, because by all means, when they have any issues, any challenges, they just pick up a call and call myself or call Mulan. We are just like a walking dictionary where we can give the advice to the customer immediately. Okay, yeah. So with our experience, like Mulan have more than about 20 years experience, correct me if I'm wrong, in human capital management, and myself, I think about 15 years experience. So the customers very confident, at least the owner, the management know what they are doing, very strong knowledge in know how all the customer things, technical know-how, experience in HCM technology and solution, right? So we are still actually a very young company. In fact, actually, we just 10 years plus history, and our tremendous goal has just brought us a small fraction of the market share in the human resource technology industry, so which is rapidly growing. So you can see there's a lot of potential futures for us to grow exponentially going forward. Perhaps our advisor can share some light on this.
Indeed, the company is still a fairly young company. Or in fact, Mr. Clement himself is also a pretty young CEO. I think 37 years old this year, right?
Wow.
So in fact, Clement is one of the youngest founder, entrepreneur CEO that we have seen successfully IPO the company on Bursa Malaysia. But with a young, energetic entrepreneur spirit, we have to keep him in check for our future plan, as we wrote in the prospectus. But having said that, right, I think as a tech company like Ramssol, I mean, being able to adapt to the ever-changing landscape in the industry, especially the HR, which is highly being disrupted now by the pandemic. I think this is what sets them apart as a company. Shane.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much, Marcus. Okay, I can't tell. Okay. So I think Mr. Clement, you're such an inspiration to many young entrepreneurs like us. Okay. I also wish that I can list my company at my 30s plus one day. Okay. Okay. So now, next, I think the audience here, I think may want to know how your financials are doing.
Okay. Since it's a financial related question, I think Miss So, our group CFO, would like to answer this.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Miss So here. Thank you, Clement. For our revenue, past 4 years, the CAGR is recorded at 55%, and whereas our profit has been growing steadily over the last 4 years as well. So it's recorded a gearing ratio of 0.56 times as at 31st December 2020.
Okay, wow, there's such a phenomenal growth of a compound annual growth rate of 55%.
Yeah.
So, if I may ask, which segment is your main contributor?
Okay, maybe I answer this.
Okay.
Okay. So, because back then, all the while, our bread and butter is always starting from human capital management solution and also student management solutions, right? So our main contributor is in these two areas, which is the human capital management and student management solution, providing consultancies. Okay, and followed by our this year HCM technology application. Okay, you see that the moment that and also then followed by our IT staff augmentation. Okay, so the moment that we bringing in luck, okay, and we have configured students, the education sectors or training provider sectors, they're able to use LAR, or even we targeted SME, okay? Because back then, HCM solutions and also Oracle's or student campus solutions is all about MNCs, okay? One thing myself and Mulan, we realize is that we also need to serve the SME, okay? And LAR is actually best serving in SME because like I mentioned, it's just a social collaboration platform, but they also actually can serve as an aggregator where we can configure the apps like, a small mini apps without much investment to put in, right? So with that, in lab, basically a lot of people buying this license for us. Of course, prior to pandemic, we actually don't foresee pandemic is coming when we actually getting the Southeast Asia for lab reseller, okay? And in fact, blessing in disguise, it happens, and we configure, we helping the SMEs in the markets, and also we helping education sector. So one of our biggest customers called Megatech, largest vocational school training providers in Malaysia. So they actually using our last year they're using our this called LAC, okay, to help train the students, okay, to teach their students, and then to assess their students, to give them examinations, time attendance, timetables, scheduling, e-certification, and so forth with this LAC. And it grows significantly revenue, if you can see from our financials, in year 2020. Okay, so main contributor like human capital management or student management solution, it doesn't much, it actually very good way in the sense that whether pandemic or no pandemic, they actually still need us to support their system because every single employee still need to submit their leave, their claims, and in fact also to have their payroll as well, right? So for
I see. Now, looking at your segmental results, for the HCM technology applications, I noticed that there's an increase in revenue for the financial year 2020.
Correct. That's what actually I mentioned earlier, because prior to pandemic, honestly speaking, prior to pandemic, we got this reseller for luck, and then we configured this to MegaTech, and then this MegaTech basically using our system to train and teach a lot of their students. Okay, that can actually, and the demand now after a successful MegaTech been using it, actually we've been approached by many similar like MegaTech education sectors, universities, training providers to use our lab, because eventually we already configured, because if you use Zoom, you only let's say for example, let's say you use Zoom, the Zoom is only able to do the video conferencing, right? But with lab, you can do video conferencing, and at the same time, they can track your attendance, they can track your student assessment, they can ask for the feedback of the class, they can do the e-certification, they can provide material of studies, and so forth and so forth. So with these robust, concrete systems already in place, so now it's like surge demand of this application in the market. So that's why we actually foresee that this would be also going to be a big contributor this year as well. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Clement and Ms. So on explaining the financial parts. Now, we know that from the prospectus that your IPO price is 45 cents. How much would the company raise, and also what the proceeds would be used for?
Okay, based on the IPO price of 45 cents, we will raise total about 25.1% from the public issues. 25.1 million from the public issues. So for the proceed, approximately 10%, we will be using for the business expansion into Philippines. Okay, so 25% we will be using for expansion of FITS and lab and incorporation with Zoom as well in Southeast Asia. So approximately 16% we will be using for R&D, and the remaining balance will be on working capital and also listing expenses.
Okay. Now you mentioned just now that 10% will go for expansion into Philippines. So could you explain more about that?
Okay. So the rationale of why we're going to Philippines is because we want to complete the whole ecosystem of our companies to be the leading human capital management in Southeast Asia. So you can see that Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, and Indonesia, we have already had presence. So one of the countries that we have not yet been there which is Philippines, right? So our customer also keep on asking us to have a business expansion to Philippines, because we need to align to a lot of our customers. When they wanted to expand their business, we also need to be present there, so that we will be the one-stop solution for them, and setting up their HR system and their HR practices there for them, right? Or even the university for them. Okay, so and most importantly also, we can see that the potential of market shares, in the industry countries involved, because we only have captured 1.33% of the HCM solution industry in the countries involved. So I see the very big growth, in that countries. So digitalization of HR function for greater operational cross-departmental efficiency is expected to drive, the demand for the human capital management solution. So hence, the expansion of Philippines is actually expected to grow our business regionally and strengthen our position, in the Southeast Asia. Just 2 years ago when we started Indonesia, it brings a lot of contributions to the group. We believe same goes to Philippines as well. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what about FITS and Lux?
FITS and Lux. Okay, so FITS in collaboration with Zoom and Lux, there has been a surge in demands for employee engagement platform and collaboration platform. Okay, especially during this what we call COVID-19 outbreak, right? So of course, the expansion of FITS and Lux is expected to contribute hugely, and we suppose could be one of the main contributor, or perhaps the main contributor for our financial performance. Okay. In addition, it also expected to enhance our brand exposure, FITS Lux, across Southeast Asia, and attract more business opportunity to our group. Yeah.
Okay. Now with now current pandemic situation, right? Now all meetings are conducted online. So from the prospectus, I read that the company intends to enhance the R&D activities primarily for the enhancements of feeds and developments of the bolt-on modules for the HCM solutions, and plan to incorporate AI technology into feeds. So could you tell us more about the reason for that?
Sure. Let's talk about fees, right? So when you talk about fees, the employer, okay, because entirely now fees, we are only doing like getting collaboration, everyone together, right? We are trying to measure how stressed is your people, how happy is your people, and how engaged is you, Shane, right? But then the employer will know that, think that, okay, now I know Shane is not happy. Now I know Shane is not engaged. So what? Right? So this AI, basically why we actually spend investment and R&D is because we want to solve the so what. Okay, the so what means that how can I tell, okay, if Shane is stressed and happy, not happy, what you need to do, what the company need to do, and why this company they will do, or something like that. Okay, so what is the course of action that the company have to do? Because AI basically is not something that rocket science anymore. AI is something that now it become a very essential. For example, your daily life also involving in AI. Okay, just like your Facebook, correct? The moment that you head into a location, or the Facebook, it seems like can reading your mind. They know what your preference. The moment you go to, for example, Lazada or Shopee to shop something, basically Facebook will actually know what is your preference. Okay, so similarly, AI is equally important to all the apps. Okay, so for feeds, like I mentioned, we need to tell the employer how to solve the problem when they already have a problem. Okay, and most importantly, also we need to have a predictive. So the predictive insight to the employees' behavioral patterns. So this is the next phase of feeds where we offer a predictive insight into employees. For example, okay, we will know, Shane, what kind of people you are. We don't only know that you are stressed, happy, or engaged or not, but we also know that what kind of talents you have, what kind of behavior you have, what kind of personality you have. Does it really fit you into this role, or you can fit to another role even better? Okay, perhaps because you are not happy because your personality is not supposed to doing this job, something like that. So we also trying to do predictive is that the possibility of you leaving the organization, how big is that? Because you are not happy, right? So that's why I think all these things will be quite impressive. That's why we willing and we wish to spend on the R&D on the feeds. Okay.
Yeah. Very powerful technology nowadays.
Right. So speaking of which, furthermore, we also plan to purchase, like, to answer your second questions, the bolt-on modules for the HCM solutions, right? The challenge now, even prior to pandemic, okay, so a lot of customers in the HR organization is clicking on the reset button because everything changed, right? Last time when you all work physically in the office, you can submit your leave manually. Okay, you can do face-to-face performance review. Okay, you can do a lot of things physically. But what happened is that now after the pandemic, everyone is working remotely, working from home. There will be a lot of changes in the business process in the organization, especially in human capital management or HR. Correct. I think you all can feel it that so your HR already started to digitalize their whole entire HR to ensure that everyone can apply leave, everyone can submit claim. Everyone should have a video conferencing. How we can monitor the employee morale? How can we monitor the employees' performance? How we can ensuring that this pandemic, how to track the career development? How we can track whether they have attended all the training that needed to perform their job or not. Right, and most importantly is that payroll wise, everything have to be in place. Yeah, so because due to that, we have to come up with a lot of bolt-on solutions, which is custom solution to cater, whether having pandemic or no having pandemic, it will serve two purposes. Right.
Okay. Thank you so much for the answer. Now, how about the expansion of IT staff augmentation business?
Oh, okay, this is even more interesting. Actually, we see the big growth in this segment, this line of business. Okay, reason why? Because IT staff augmentation is talking about we are recruiting IT professional for our customers, right? So in the market, actually, it's very short of IT professional. And why this is a very potential growth in the future? Because everyone now, no matter you got money or not, whether you have allocate the budget for this area or not, everyone now only think about one thing, which is digitalizations. Okay, all the company need to focus on digitalizations. Okay, because without digitalization, everyone during this MCO, in regardless of any countries, there is no way you can work, right? So with that, then all the companies will start to do that, thinking about digitalization. They start to build like, I want this system, I want to build this system, I want to build this app. In order to do that in-house, okay, not engaging a professional company to do that, they need to recruit. Okay, in order to recruit, they need to find us, because we will understand the requirement of the customer. That will make a very high search demands of IT professional, actually, even now. Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you have any other plans for the company? Hi, Clement.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah. The question is, do you have any other plans for the company?
Sorry, my line is not stable. Can you repeat again, Shane?
Okay. Do you have any other plan for the company?
Yes. So the company will also focus on increasing like the sales of software licenses, because as I mentioned, like software licenses actually pay a part of recurring income revenue to our organization whenever our customers renew the licenses for human capital management or student management solutions, right? So we also actually focus on increasing the sales licenses because of like Zoom, or LAR, Office is a month.
Hi, Mr. Clement. Oh, hang on, yeah.
I think the line wasn't.
Yeah, I think that he's.
Hi, I'm back.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I just dropped from the call.
Yeah, carry on.
Okay, so yeah, so we actually focusing on increasing the sales of software license as part of the provision of human capital management and student management solutions. So because like you see last year in year 2020, we also expand the business into the IT related trainings businesses in Malaysia, like mentioned Megatex, right? Primarily in then we intend to like upskill their technical knowledge and skill. So we foresee that this would be increasing a lot of performance revenue to our financial performance, because it's a market niche. If you look at our whole entire ecosystem of the company, we provide employees what they call human capital management solutions to our customers, consultancy. We provide student management solutions. We provide those customers, if they want to buy the system, they want to build themselves, you can look for me for this IT professional, we could recruit for you. Okay, so now with all the company working from home, they need employee engagement platform. They need a social collaboration platform like LAR and Zoom, correct? Then, of course, why we actually venture into a training business now? Because the people in the market, the IT people is very short in the market. So we have the responsibility to develop, reskill or upskill them so that we have enough people also to provide to our customers.
I see. Okay. Yeah, so I think that time's up. So that concludes my questions to you. So I think thanks, Mr. Clement, for the session. So as can see from the Q&A box and also chat box, right, there are so many questions from the participant already. So now, yeah, we now open the floor for the Q&A session. So you may post a question in the Q&A box, not the chat box. Okay, so our team can easily manage it. So now, let me take the first question. So your projects are based on the project basis or monthly basis. Now, for the IT staff augmentation and HCM technology application, how do you usually charge your clients?
Okay, very good questions. So let's talk about HCM and human capital management or student management solutions, right? So of course, first of all, when the customer buy license from us, they will buy typically 3 years, subject to renewal every year. Okay, so the licenses, we will charge the customers every year with our margins. Okay, and then when we do the consultancy and implementation is project basis, one time. Okay, and also right after the project, then they will definitely, the customer will engage us to what we call support and train support their system. So this would be by quarterly basis and yearly basis. Okay, normally we will charge a yearly retainer. So so they have a customer have the peace of mind to run their business operations. Okay, so let's talk about IT staff augmentation. So IT staff augmentation is a recurring monthly fees, right? Just like salaries. Okay, so for example, like I mentioned, we charge Kenanga, let's say for Marcus to be an IT professionals. Okay, so Marcus, we will charge Kenanga for 20,000. Okay, and we actually paying, let's say, Marcus, sorry, 10,000. Okay, so Marcus 10,000. Then the margins of 10,000. So we will charge the customer every month 20,000, 20,000, 20,000. Yeah, so that would be a recurring basis. So as you can, that's why you can see that our company recurring financials revenue is keep on growing yearly by yearly, and in terms of percentage. Okay, rather than more on one-time basis amounts. So the sustainability, yeah, we talk about sustainability. So and then of course like Fix, LAC or Zoom. So pretty much it's licenses and it's a SaaS model. We call it as a software as a service. It's a subscription base. Okay, so Fix is we charge employees per monthly. Okay, for fees. Okay, LAC the same, and Zoom is by also the same. Okay, so basically all this is by subscription basis, and for Zoom, the subscription basis can be monthly and also can be annual renewal basis. Okay, yep.
Okay, so thanks for the answer. So the next question is, what is your current outstanding order book?
Wow. Okay, so if you can see from our prospectus, okay, so last year 2020, okay, we recorded a high growth of revenue to 25 million over. Okay, and as of LPD this year, May, okay, we actually recorded order book of 19.4 million already. Right.
Okay, impressive. So let me pick the next question. Okay, so the third question is, how are you different compared with your peers? Now, are you the market leader among them?
How I'm different? Okay, in fact, actually, we are now in position to comment on the other industry players. Okay, so as stated in our perspective, we strongly believe in our competitive strengths. Okay, we strongly believe in whatever the, like in the prospectus key investment highlight and why the customer being so trust us. Okay, so anyhow, like I mentioned earlier, so we are still a very young company. We just 10 years history, and our tremendous growth has just brought a small fraction of the market share in the HR tech industries, which is rapidly growing. Okay, so we see a lot of future potential for us to grow, going forward. Right.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is, what is your current gross profit and the PATAMI margin? And do you have any strategies, to increase them?
To increase them. Okay, so the current GP and PATAMI margin, perhaps, Miso, can you help me to answer that?
Yeah. Okay, currently our GP margin for 2020 is 60.56%, and the PATAMI margin is 29.74%. Yeah, that's for 2020.
Oh, it's quite high, huh? Almost 30%. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the strategies actually to increase them, perhaps that one, let me answer. So there are a lot of strategies to enhance them. If you can see from our utilization to proceed, okay, looking at our expansion plan, we are actually increasing the, to bring more exposure to from our fees and LAC into all the countries that we have presence. Okay, for your information, today fees only applicable in Malaysia and Indonesia. We still have a lot of countries like Vietnam, Singapore, Thailand, Philippines that haven't been mentioned yet, right? And LAC, due to also pandemic, it's very hard for us to actually cross other countries as well. So now is the time where we actually wanted to expand LAC into other countries exposure as well. Okay, and you can see that the IT staff augmentation, the demand is so much, and then the IT training related projects now is so good. And one good thing is that what we have research and development in last year and the two back then, actually now is a harvest time, like feeds and like LAC. What we have configured in LAC, what we have configured in feeds, eventually all the TPs, training providers, all the education sectors, they show a lot of interest and use our services because with the success stories that we have for them. Okay, so with that, because I will always believe that the good thing always spread with word of mouth, and then with that, with a lot of customer testimonial, customer success stories, we always looking forward for greater, higher and higher revenues and growing the businesses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I've picked the 5th question to ask. Now, based on your issue price of 45 cents per share, so what is your price to earnings ratio? Do you think this is overvalued or undervalued?
What do you think, Shane? No, just kidding.
I have to, I can have to reserve my comment because I need to be neutral. Okay.
To answer that, to be more precisely, I think I would take one example that is just happened with these 2 days. Okay, because for valuation wise, I feel we are not expensive because in fact, actually yesterday there's a research house called Mercury Securities. Okay, they issued reports with a fair value of RAM supposed to be worth 79 cents. Okay, which is 76% higher than our IPO price of 45 cents. Okay, so to be elaborate more further, I think maybe can advisor help me to comment on our valuations?
Yeah, sure, Clement. Yeah, indeed, it was a big vote of confidence from the research house. For us, in coming up with the IPO price of 45 cents, basically it's based on a historical profit of based on a PE multiple of 13 times 1/3. So how we come up with this 13 times is essentially taking into account, as per the prospectus, the historical financial performance, the company's competitive strengths, industry that they are in, and also their future prospect, their future plans. But more importantly, when we look at these PE multiples, right, as compared to the recent ACE market listing in say the last 2 years, this PE multiple is generally within the range of the IPOs in the last 2 years, ranging from the low teens to as high as 17 times. But more importantly, I think what differentiates the company is that the being in the software technology company, that Bursa Malaysia, we haven't seen any recent software technology company for a while. And for what Ramssol does, right, being in the human resource, which is an industry that is currently being challenged by the pandemic, disrupted by the pandemic, and Ramssol being the technology enabler to bring to deliver solutions to this industry is what I think sets them apart in growing their market share in this industry.
Okay, thank you, Marcus, for your input. All right, so one of our attendees would like to ask, right? How is your company sustainable?
Oh, good. So basically, actually from the past, what I mentioned earlier. So one thing to prove that, like our company group revenue actually last year is about 25 million. But as FLPD, our order book already stood at 19.4 million now. Okay, that's one. Secondly, if you can, like I mentioned earlier, because you see our line of business, IT staff augmentations. Okay, let's say we talk about human capital management and student management solutions. Okay, every customer that engage our services after a project, they require us to support their system. Okay, and this support we are charging yearly retainer. Okay, and that will be generating a recurring revenue to us, right? Secondly, IT staff augmentations. When we talk about IT staff augmentation, means that we are charging our customer monthly fees. We are charging customer monthly fees, and we pay the respective IT professional salaries also by monthly. That also another recurring. Okay, and talking about third one, the provision of HCM technology applications, for example, like lab, feeds, and Zoom. All right. So these three areas, these three items is all by monthly subscriptions, okay, or yearly subscriptions. So all this is basically the sustainable will be on every single line of business that we have is also generating a recurring revenue, right? We doesn't actually only rely on a single customers, okay? We rely on multiple customers. If you look at our clientele is like multiples. And also we are not only focusing in one country, and we are focusing in multiple countries, okay? So like I mentioned also, last year we have entered agreement with Megatech to provide the IT related trainings. And with this also is going to be a recurring, because then all the other education sector will come to you, come and buy the lab with configured education's features in, and this is also another recurring. So moving forward, because we also intend to continue expand our business segment by closely observing the market needs in terms of demand for specific training program, as well as actively seek for collaboration opportunity with third parties, which allow us to discover more new business opportunity. Right.
Okay, thanks for the answer. All right, let's go to the next question.
Yeah.
I want to ask, like, how do you see the business of Ramssol growing within the coming years, especially during the COVID-19 outbreak, since the economic impact has resulted in a tighter budget for most organizations?
Okay, so in fact, actually, I doesn't know whether the pandemic really helped on my revenue or not, but there's proven is that last year our revenue is growing very significantly compared to 2019. Okay, even though pandemic time. Of course, like I mentioned, because our IT provision stuff, what they call the technology application like lab, okay, given us a huge revenues, in a sense that because everyone needed a Zoom, everyone needed a lab social collaboration platform to perform their job, to teach the students, right? This digitalization has led to increase the demand of the market, and we can foresee that it will be continue to expand and demand in the market. Because happy or not, even though there's no COVID, even though I think the whole population in Malaysia have been vaccinated, and I suppose everyone also been used to it, working from home or remotely, okay? Or maybe in the future, what I can see could be a hybrid, okay? Where some of the people will be staying at home, working or studying at home at the same time. Like, recently, like the SPM result, you will be very surprised where, studying from home, but the result is still much better than the studying in the schools. So, a lot of times where they see the efficiency, because you never try, you never know. Now, once you try, you will know that it works at the same time. Okay, just like how this webinar works. And in the near future, people will not be able to, I would say that, used to it when you didn't have a video conferencing tools with you, just like your phone reading. Okay, imagine you doesn't have a Zoom account, that would be feel them very uneasy. Okay, so so there are the several areas like human capital management, student management solutions. There will be no impact because, like I mentioned, our contract with our customers on the recurring is renewal by yearly. Okay, and by all means, happy or not, the salary of they still need to pay salary to the staff. The payroll still need to remain. Okay, staff still need to perform all the HR activities. Okay, they still need to recruit, they still need to terminate, and so forth, right? So with this, that's why, there's no impact in terms of our pillars of human capital management and also student management solutions. Okay, so so I think for IT staff augmentation, in fact, actually is higher demand now, because like I mentioned, everyone want to build apps or digitalize their in-house software. Okay, so we've been getting a lot of requests. What we have lack of now is not enough resources to provide, right? That's why we're going to the trainings, keep on training people, reskill the people, upskill our people, to meet the customer needs. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for the answer. So, okay, the next question is, what is your view on the future industry trends?
Okay, the view on the future industry trend. I think with the increasing of the what they call reliance on IT technology, I think everyone now is like cannot live without technologies, right? So even goes to organizations. I think the future for HCM, human capital management or student management solution, I think by all means, big or small company, they have no choice but to go digitalized. Okay, so that's why, you know, when we, as a Ramssol Group CEO, I always been thinking that I cannot only focusing on MNC. I also need to focusing on SME. That's why we have a product like Sage Easy Pay, where it's more suitable for SME. Okay, and also because of luck being such a good tools where we can configure what they call some of the application easily without much heavy investment. So we see that it will help in the market. So a HCM solution will adaptable in innovative technology, and then the customer will keep on require extra customization to meet their needs unnecessary, because you know now there's a lot of uncertainty. Okay, today MCO, tomorrow no MCO. There are too many things been changing, not only in Malaysia, but it's also happened to countries like Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, or Indonesia. Okay, even like as a HR, we also need to handle whatever announcement that given by the government as well, all the changes at the same time, correct? So yeah, whatever, you know, every time there will be a MCO, or, you know, there will be a lot of changes in terms of regulation, or maybe a rate of like subsidy or incentive that given by the government. For example, moratorium like EPF, contribution percentage wise, all this is related to HR, right? And whatever the incentive to help the employers and employees in the organization, HR have to take responsible as well, and we need to provide the consultancy advice. So by all means, what I'm trying to say is that digitalize is very important. You know, this kind of process cannot be changed by manual. It has to be programmed into the system so that it can be automated. Okay, so in regards to IT staff augmentations, the trend is that everyone needs IT people. That's all I can say, right? So employee engagement collaborative platform, by all means, like I said, everyone needs a lot. Everyone needs a Zoom. I don't see any household without a Zoom or something like that, right? So every organization without having a social collaboration or video conferencing tools. Okay, and speaking of which, employee engagement equally important, because like, you know, especially how you can monitor the productivity, how you can boost up the morale of the companies when everyone working remotely. Okay, can you imagine when your people is not engaged during working remotely, you know, how would it impact the performance and the productivity of your staff? Okay, but if a company during this pandemic hard times still using fees to engage their people, you know, I believe every single employee in the organization will be very loyal to the company, because they found that the company putting their effort and recognize them. They understand how important their people as their asset of the companies, right?
Okay, thank you for the answer.
Sure.
Now, the next question is asked by easily 6 people. So,
Whoa.
Mr. Clement, who are your competitors?
Our competitors, okay. So basically, our competitors like what we actually doing, something like Accenture, you know, KPMG, Deloitte, Consulting, all these people. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you.
Oh, sorry. Okay, Sage Group and so forth. So in terms of our offering, the software, okay, like a HCM solution or student management solution. So we are actually providing Oracle. So some of the competitors will be, I'm not sure whether you heard before, like SAP, right? Workday, okay, it's also US based. So yeah. So in terms of IT staff augmentation, basically, it's more about like recruitment companies, but we are very different, because recruitment company typically they will charge like headhunters, right? They will charge you one-time fees. So 3 months later, happy or not, if these people leaving, you will not get rebate. But for us, it's very different, okay? Because we charge by monthly. So when the company say that, oh, Clement, your people like Marcus do want to not perform or do want to resign, or for example, resign, But don't worry, I say, I will never charge you extra. I will straight away replace to you. So that's our specialties. And especially, there's not much people also doing this in the markets. Okay. And for the fees, basically, we are the first mover. Okay. As you can see from a lot of newspaper, there's not such apps actually now in the markets. Okay. And for LAP, Zoom, basically, there's no competitor. Zoom is Zoom. You know, that of course, Zoom have competitors. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for the answer. The next question is, one of attendees asked, like, any part of the Ramssol's revenues are recurring in nature?
Recurring in nature. That would be all the licenses, all the subscription-based, like Zoom or La or Fees, or the licenses that we sell, like Oracle's every year renewal. Yeah, that is by nature. Yeah. So like our support to our customer yearly renewal or retainer fees, that would be services.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So the next question is, do you have in-house developed software? If not, do you plan to do so? Or do you plan to resell local developed software?
Yeah, in fact, actually we have. So like employee engagement mobile application like the Fits is actually developed in-house, right? And that's our plan to do. So yeah, and in fact, actually that's why in our UP utilization to proceed, we are actually expanding the R&D in Fits because it's actually developed in-house, right?
Okay. Now, just now, of course, Ms. So also talked about gross margin. So the next question here is like, could you tell us more about the margin for each segment?
Can. Margin, okay, let's talk about HCM technologies, HCM student, human capital management and student management solutions, right? The consultancy and the system implementation that we provide to our customers. Margin around typically about 40%. Okay. IT staff augmentation would be around 45 to 50% around these margins. And our technologies, like for example, Face, La or Zoom, our margin should be our margin actually at 90%.
Oh, wow. Very high,
Yeah.
So let me go to the next question. Okay. I'm sure there are many other companies providing similar services regionally. What are Ramssol's comparative advantage? Okay, I think we have covered that before just now. Maybe you just briefly go through.
Right.
Okay. So the next question is, does your company have a nationwide reach?
Yes, Malaysia, Vietnam, Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia. Yep.
Nationwide.
Nationwide. Yeah, we have actually presence in Malaysia, Vietnam, Singapore.
Okay. Okay. The next question is, would you be able to show your company's turnover net profit over the past 5 years?
Oh, I think Miso, would you able to help me on this?
Yeah, sure, Clement. For our company revenue, it stood at 6.8 million, 12.5 million, 15.4 million, and 25.3 million for 2017 to 2020 respectively. Whereas for Patami, it's around 0.09 million for 2017, 0.2 million for 2018, 4.5 million for 2019, and 7.5 million for 2020 respectively. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the next question is, do you serve businesses of different sizes?
Yes. So HCM solution like Oracle, basically we are serving all the big, large organizations, like you can see from our prospectus, all the clientele. Okay, like CapitaLand, you know, like all the banks and banks, you know, CMBs and so forth, right? So large organization for automation of their business processes. So we also now with Lab actually Fits and Zoom is all sizes of the companies, even 10 people, right? So that's why our company ecosystem now is more balanced because we have big company used to be back then. We always been serving the big company. Now we serving any range of or student also can use any of our services. Okay, and SME, they will feel that, wow, now I can enjoy a premium consulting firm, by paying lesser, right?
Okay. So let's do the one last question because I think the time is running out. Okay, let's do one last questions to compare. Okay, now how competitive is luck compared to workplace, teams, and etc.?
Okay, so Microsoft Team you're referring to, I suppose, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
So luck actually, how competitive? Because the institution that Microsoft Team have luck serve as a single platforms for all the apps to collaborate into luck. This also doesn't have workplace or sorry, for teams, right? So like document creations and all these apps, creating of apps, all these doesn't have in other software. That's why all the, like for example, like all the education sector, all the training providers, why they actually company ourselves, we've been using it, why they actually engage us, because of like workplace, they don't have these features where instant translation, they don't have the capability of creating our own apps like student assessments, right? Perhaps like calendar creations, or instant messagings, or perhaps like configuring the timetabling, getting the feedback, or health report, COVID health report, e-certification, and so forth and so forth and so forth. Right.
Okay. All right. So yeah. So that's all the time we have today. So thank you so much, Mr. Clement, Ms. Yulan, Ms. So, and all our representatives from Kenanga Investment Bank for spending your precious time with us this morning. Now, if you are interested in subscribing for the IPO shares, the application now is now open and will close on 29. Remember, the deadline is 29 June. Okay, this month. So yeah, you can submit your application through the electronic share application or internet share application with any participating financial institutions. So good luck, everybody. Okay, so congratulations. Congratulations once again, Mr. Clement and the team and the Ramssol Group. Hope that you have a successful, mega successful listing soon. Okay. Now, before we end, let me tell you more about our next Can Trade session. Just give me a minute to allow me to share my screen. Okay. So you all have have come to the last session, okay, which is our next webinar. So the next Can Trade webinar will be on live chat with Emilus Holdings Berhad, which is fueling war chairs to penetrate the Chinese market. So this is the company that supply the automated testing equipments to a semiconductor company. So it's happening on next Thursday, 1st of July, 8:30 to 9:45. So I'll also be moderator. So the registration link I've just given you in the chat box. So if you want to learn about the technology ATE company, all right, please join this session. This is a small cap company. So after Emilus, then we have arranged Hibiscus Petroleum on 6th of July, which is a Tuesday. So we have invited for the Emilus, we have invited the CEO to come and talk about this. So which is Mr. Ng Sang Ping. Then for the 6th July Hibiscus Petroleum, we have invited the Group Managing Director, Mr. Kenneth Gerard Pereira, to talk about Hibiscus Petroleum on the 6th July. Then on 13th July, we have got the CEO, Mr. Alvin Mui, to talk about Pi Industrial Berhad. So live chat with Pi Industrial Berhad, opening the frontier in automation and robotics. So these are our next 3 webinars in store for our Can Trade clients. So for those of you who have not had a Kenanga share trading account, yes, you may fill in your interest in this form below. So just go click this www.cantrade.my/open-account-form to indicate your interest, and then the Kenanga Investment Bank will arrange a friendly dealer representative to help you to open your account. So with that, thank you everybody for joining today's session. Thank you, Mr. Clement, Ms. Yula, Ms. So, and Mr. Marcus Fong, Mr. Syed for joining this session, and I hope that you all have a successful listing. All right.
Thank you, Shane.
Yeah, for the rest of you, had a great present rest of the weekend.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank you.
bye everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.